Apologies for trespassing into your internet feed, but we are here to talk about Gotham Season 5, Episode 2, Trespassers.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hence, it's loud.
It is. We are
It's
here.
happening.
There's a lot happening.
Thank you all for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV's coverage of Gotham Season 5, Episode 2. Steve Kaufmann here, Zack Peter over there. Karla
Hello.
Beltran next to him.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How did we feel about this episode?
I didn't think I could dislike it more than last week's episode, but now I actually like last week's episode because at least there was some action. I know everybody in the comments loved last week's episode, and, you know, props to you. I didn't think it was a terrible episode. I just thought we could have started stronger on the season, and I didn't think it would get more. Like, this just felt like a really filler episode. It was a lot of fat and no meat.
I will say...
So if you're down for the keto diet, this is what you digest, but that's not what we're here for.
I do want to play devil's advocate with the idea that this is like
Here we
a
go.
terrible filler episode. Let me...
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go. Steve always flips once we get on camera.
To protect your back.
No. Let me preface this with I also did not fully enjoy this episode.
thank you.
There we
but
go.
I will say that may not be the fault of this episode so much as this show.
Okay.
Fair.
I think this episode on a lesser series, like let's say Supernatural.
Okay.
Supernatural has like 8 filler episodes that move about at the pace this one moved. And the stakes are very villain of the weeky, very like challenge of the weeky.
Yes.
I think Gotham, up until now, has held itself to a much higher standard when it comes to a filler episode.
Yep.
Pretty much the trailer I saw for what we're seeing with Selina, Kyle, and Bruce next week is really what should have been the second half of this episode.
I completely agree. I know that everybody disagreed with us in the chat.
It's the internet. One negative commenter represents 6 people who completely agree with you and
Yeah.
have nothing to say because you
Yeah.
said it.
Basically. So I also feel the same way that I felt about last week's episode. Last week's episode does seem a little bit better now after seeing this one. But this one was just way too slow for me. Like, we got to 20 minutes and I was like, it's already been 20 minutes and I feel like I haven't actually seen anything, like, worthy of, like, being here.
The reason I think we hold these last 2 episodes to a higher standard is because we know this is the last season.
Yes.
Like, we know Gotham is ending, so you would just expect less filler and more meat. Like, close up some storyline, set something up so that we know that there's, like, a big end goal in sight. Spoiler, Batman's coming.
Yeah,
Like,
also,
Yeah.
but
set
also,
that up.
well, Batman is coming to save a Gotham that is presumably civilized.
Right.
In 10 years,
Right.
because right now this Gotham is completely uncivilized. Everyone's just everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a dark zone.
So what do we need Batman
There's
for?
like 8 versions. Also, there's a lot of hate on me in the chat
Oh.
about
Why?
like just me saying Supernatural. People are like, take Supernatural out your mouth,
Oh.
Steve Kaufmann.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But like Supernatural.
It wasn't. I understood the parallel, though.
Yes,
I understood the point you were trying to make. Gotham isn't one of the Supernatural is one of those where you can have individual episodes that don't necessarily need to have
Yes.
an overarching storyline.
and that's why they're on TBS twice
Exactly.
or 3 times a day because they're written and made in such a way that you don't need to know much to follow along with what's
Right.
happening every week. I'm not hating on Supernatural. Supernatural's great.
I've never seen it.
Y'all
Yeah.
should not come at me because y'all can like. I've seen what happens when y'all come at people. I don't want it. But I do want to say that Gotham as a show set the precedent even in season 1 when it wasn't that great. They still set the precedent of things are gonna happen and we're going somewhere.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of the promos that they sent out there kind of have already been giving us the storyline that we're looking forward
Right.
towards. So I kind of was hoping that more of those promos would come by like the episodes as they're coming, but a little bit faster. And even if we had to focus a little bit more on the storyline, like maybe on the whole Ivy scene, like when having Ivy come back, I wish she would have had like an awesome comeback again, you know, especially
No,
'cause
I
they're
wish she would have
using-
never come back ever.
So let's-
True, but I wish that the story would have at least dragged a little bit longer rather than like, oh, she's there like Cage, and then Bruce gets her out with no problem, and then
I don't know.
the
I
end.
actually think that scene dragged on a little much. It was a little
Well, here's my issue, and it brings us into Ivy. Ivy was actually top of the rundown. Last week we were talking a lot about Ivy not like about us thinking, oh, this
Ivy,
witch
yeah.
is going to be a brand new character that can come and go. That is not the case. The witch is Ivy. Which Ivy, at this point, regardless of how flippantly they've recasted her 3 times, we're to a place that she can't just come and go.
Right.
Like she now has to be an integral part to all this, or it's kind of a waste. Like I guess I was hoping, because I think if the witch were this brand new fascinating character that had nothing to do with plants, and people were trying to burn her, I'd be more enthralled by what honestly felt to me like a side quest on a video game.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, but like he's gonna get the thing from probably Ivy, and then Selina's gonna take it, and that's where the meat is. That's
Yeah.
where that's where the conflict is. That's where we all want to be.
Yeah.
And we're mashing X.
Yeah, I felt like if you were going, like, because they already gave it away that Selina was going to be fun. Like, we already saw
Exactly.
that in previews and promos. So they took that card away from us, the mystery of what's going to happen to her. And then by introducing Ivy as the witch, then we already knew Ivy has a plan that she, like, it was just too predictable for me.
Yeah.
Like, the storyline was given away way too, like there was nothing in this scene that shocked me other than the unnecessary random, like, 2 gangs fighting over Gordon because they want, to get Penguin's ammunition, or the random, haunted house scene. Like, there was also, like, it was just so much unnecessary
And then,
extras.
But even then, so like that's exactly the same thing. Like these extra villains that were added, we've never even seen them before. We've never heard
And we're
anything
not
about
gonna
them,
see them again,
and we're
yeah.
not going to see them again. So why bring them in now?
Yeah, like, we literally had 2 new gangs introduced this episode that were both killed off by the end of the episode. And I
Yeah.
feel like, where's Freeze? Where's, where's Zaz? Where are all these old characters that have been, in the show, an integral part of the show that we know are going to be integral long term? Like, there was no need to add the witch. I mean, not the
Yeah.
witch, the ghost lady.
Well, and I think what's interesting, because the rest of
we
this...
didn't even kill the ghost lady. You might as well do, like,
The rest of
finish her
this
off.
episode, we're going to be talking about people like the Ghost Lady, who are one-off by all intents and purposes. But with Ivy, what I find interesting is, I think we can all agree we would have actually preferred Ivy have been the one-off character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one-off, semi-interesting character, like, oh, that's interesting. Like, that's a take on something that kind of exists in the world of Batman, but you don't give it enough teeth to really have to run the whole city.
Yeah.
So much as like, oh, that was an undaunting task Bruce had to overcome to get the thing that helps Selina Kyle. And we really want to see Selina Kyle get the thing and then branch away from him and become a villainess.
Yeah.
But making it Ivy actually felt too familiar.
Yeah.
That it just doesn't work. But a bunch of people in the chat are asking, like, I think the diagnosis of the problem of all of these beats is with Ivy, we wanted Ivy to not be a character we've ever met before. The witch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wanted the witch to be an original character. Everybody else on this rundown, what we're going to say is, man, I guess we wish that was Freeze.
Yeah.
Wish that was Freeze. Wish that was Firefly. Wish that was Strange.
I actually don't mind that Ivy was the witch at all. I just think that I would have preferred a different storyline where there's actually a fight between her and Bruce is trying to get this seed that's going to help her, and she like tricks him, like more of an action scene between him and Ivy, not just like, oh, it's Selina, oh, I'm never gonna give it to you. And then there was no tension. The tension was there for like less than 30 seconds, and then she was like, oh, here's the seed, you can take it. And it was just too easy. Like, I don't know if this is the last time that we'll see Ivy, but it just kind of seemed like this was her way of saying like goodbye in the show. Like, okay, I'll give you the seed, but don't bother me again. Meaning, like, don't come after me again. I haven't seen all the promos that have come out. I do say that. I have not seen all the promos, so I don't know how much of Ivy they are showing us. But if this is the last of Ivy that we were going to see, I wish that it would have been a scene that actually was worth her coming back for.
I agree.
I think we are going to see more of Ivy.
We're probably going to see more of Ivy. Nicholas Kelly in the chat brings up that you knew from the jump. Remember, Ivy had a monologue where she said on her jewelry store theory past, plants can heal you, poison you, and make you fall in love. So it'll be all of that. And who's to say, because Ivy did touch Bruce, who's to say that like she made Bruce fall in love with Selina Kyle, although he's already in love with Selina Kyle. I don't know. I would have just preferred, if we're gonna do, I gotta get the thing to do the thing to make her do the other thing, I would have much rather this not been a character we had so many, pardon my pun, roots toward.
Yeah.
That I would much rather have it just been a witch. Or like a scientist,
Like the
a
A
scientist,
disposable character that didn't need to.
yeah, like a scientist that actually just has a bunch of cool tech in a world where no one else has tech, and people think it's magic.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be okay with that, other than just make it Ivy again. I feel like we belabored that point. I did enjoy the Selina Kyle Bruce scene, specifically where she talked about Ivy, which, coming up in the improv world, if you're talking about another character, that's usually not great. But I actually really enjoyed the emotional resonance of who Ivy was to her, more than I enjoyed anything with Ivy.
I actually liked Ivy this episode.
Really?
I have like vehemently hated her in previous episodes, or the third actress to play her, but I actually didn't mind her. And I liked that we got to humanize this character, because we'd seen previous versions of Ivy's, but this actress was, I think her character was humanized through Selina Kyle's kind of like, reminiscence.
Also, Eric Olin in the chat brought up something that has existed since season 1, episode 1 of this show, which is my pun jar. 5 years I've been putting money into this pun jar. Let me know what charity you want. I'll find a way to calculate.
You can send it to my charity.
I'll Apple F the transcripts and find the word pun. We'll figure it out. It'll probably be a couple $100.
Perfect. You can mail the check to Generation Rescue. That's
Yes.
that's the charity you can send it to.
All right. Moving on to the other. I don't want to call this a side quest, because I think Gordon's. I don't know. The Green Zone and Gordon has always, since last week, felt to me like a very weird stake for him to have, because he should be worried about keeping the Green Zone. But then he keeps running into kids who are telling him that stuff's bad outside the Green Zone. Of course, stuff's bad outside the Green Zone. That's why why there's a Green Zone.
Right.
But he decides he wants to have a crusade, which they've done no groundwork to show that Gordon wants to do all these crusades because he needs to run away from the fact that he can't maintain the Green Zone. He never maintained his life, and whatever level of guilt and blame he could share in Gotham being in shambles. I want to in any way illustrate that that's why he's going to keep leaving the Green Zone and saving all these cats.
I feel like it's in his nature to like have to leave the Green Zone to go and save all the kids. Again, I feel like it's a little unnecessary. Like, I want to see how we get to, if we only have a certain number of episodes, I want a little more meat between, the bigger gangs, not these little gangs, but like, I want to see what's happening with Penguin. Nygma, I think, is also a really big kind of question mark this season, because he's struggling to figure out like what's going on with him.
And now you have to put money in the pun jar, but go on.
I actually kept myself from doing. I tried to keep myself from going full punny.
Fair.
So I went half pun.
I don't know. Like, once again, I think these side quests would feel stronger if we knew, oh man, this is what Gordon has to do.
Yeah.
To not look himself in the mirror and have to face blame, or anything else that can be going down. Speaking of what's going down, we go down here on YouTube. We also go down on iTunes.
That is an interesting choice of words to use. But AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve TV fans like us, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made just for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they're totally optional. So hit that subscribe button right now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know that you did in the comments below, and we'll thank you on air. Trust me, we read them, not even the not so nice ones. For now, thank you guys for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
All right. Quick shout out to Ivan Soto in the chat, who helped us name all of these folks Gordon encounters in the No Man's Land, the Not Green Zone. It was Mother and Orphan, who are from the comics, and the Sootsayers. I had them written down as the Soothsayers. I was wrong. And the Neon Faces are the two rivaling gangs. I enjoyed the idea of Mother and Orphan, and I'm sure fleshed out in a full comic book, Mother and Orphan would be this incredibly awesome and terrifying thing.
I agree.
And if Mother and Orphan existed in the Green Zone somehow, this would have been a terrifying thing worthy of like half an episode.
Yeah.
My issue is He left the Green Zone to save some kids, saves most of the kids, has to run around with 3 kids, winds up meeting Mother and Orphan, only to then escape Mother and Orphan, run out into the street, and then run into the Neon Faces and the Sootsayers. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot of ending.
Yeah.
To really not help us with these actual... And I'm only so hard on this show, because a lot of other shows I do enjoy do stuff like this a lot. This show isn't known to do weird side quests like this.
Yeah.
There were just too many weird side quests for me.
I feel like they're just trying to include way too many things instead of focusing on just the top, like, villains that we've had all, like, for the past 4 seasons.
I agree.
They also gave us a lot of Nygma this episode, but we still didn't get a lot of... Are we moving into Nygma yet?
Let's move into Nygma,
okay,
because
let's move into
personally, the past 2 weeks, he has been the star of the show for me.
I love him. I just want to see him being...
Well, I think because they've given him so little time over the course of 2 weeks, they've actually... And, like, such an isolated version of it, that we actually got a very cohesive, succinct story with him as what's happened and what's happening.
Okay,
and
I'll give you that.
And what Riddler's plans are versus Nygma's plan. Which is, like, I don't know, I'm really enjoying this.
I'm super intrigued personally, because I don't know what's actually going on, because I haven't seen any promos that tell me what's going on. So I'm very like, okay, I want to know what's going on.
Have you seen any promos?
I have seen some promos. I do follow Gotham on Fox.
I would say, first off, I'll circle back to it. It's prediction. Penguin. This is all about Riddler and Penguin and their asexual love, but also beef.
Yeah.
Like we've talked a lot about the fact that there's a love there, and that, like, people are standing them for sure, and people are shipping them for sure, whereas in reality I think one or both of them are asexual. Like, I personally think Cobblepot's asexual.
Okay.
Like, non-sexual, like not attracted to anyone sexually, but you can still... Well, you can still find love.
Yeah.
He's sexually not attracted to anyone. Like, he's still in love with himself. He's still in love with other people in that universe. And he's in love with Nygma, who may just be straight.
Yeah.
And unable to reciprocate that love because Penguin's a sociopath.
Yeah.
To get into Nygma's problems, Nygma jumps back and forth between Riddler and Nygma in ways that it's pretty much Memento every morning to find out what he did the night previously.
It's a fun storyline to follow. I just wish we had a little more, like, to go off.
Really?
Of.
No, we're gonna get it.
I know we're gonna get
We've seen
it.
We've seen it. It's gonna go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like being in the dark.
I like being lost.
I like knowing everything.
Fair. I enjoy being lost specifically with Ed. Because we've never once really seen the Riddler do any of this stuff. And it's very clear for those who are following that Riddler looked at the entire city, what was going down, and had Penguin kill a gang. And it's not the low boys. There are way too many gangs.
Yeah.
There are way too many gangs in this segmented Gotham. It's really frustrating. Because, like, last week you introduced the low boys. This week you introduced the Neon Gang and the Sootsayers. Now you're introducing whatever biker gang he was fighting with this week who weren't any of those other gangs.
Like, I thought there weren't that many people left in Gotham.
Yeah, I'm like...
We need to run roughshod through all these factions, y'all. Like,
yeah, because there are
day.
so many.
And not to mention,
we need
Joker
Ivan
gang.
Soto to break that down for us. Ivan Soto just put together an Excel sheet,
a chart.
a chart with all of the different factions.
But I'm really enjoying the Riddler's masterminding that he knows that if Penguin has to get into a war with this gang, my thought is that this gang is a beatable gang that's going to essentially come for Penguin, and Penguin's going to be like, well, now I have to destroy you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I have to wreck everyone.
With an underlined message.
But it's also going to set a cataclysmic event because it's ultimately Penguin versus the Sirens and Barbara. Barbara leading the Sirens. And that's going to be the huge power shift and the huge power war within Gotham. Because they're the biggest land masses. And then I'm sure, hypothetically, if Freeze picked one side and Firefly picked another side, then that becomes a huge war for Gotham. And the Green Zone stays out of it because they have to. And then Scarecrow weighs in. There's too many people in Gotham.
So many people. That's what we didn't need to introduce anymore.
I don't care about the Neon Gang.
I don't either.
Me neither.
In a pre-credit scene, show me Barbara or Penguin wrecking 6 of these gangs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
would have rather see like Scarecrow again.
Yep.
I would love to see Scarecrow again instead of seeing
Pretty
like,
much
the Young
everything
Gang.
the Sootsayers were doing
Yeah.
could have been Penguin. Penguin could have just been imprisoning kids, and we could have had less of him last week.
Yeah.
Although, it's a prediction. It's a prediction.
You have a lot of predictions, Steve Kaufmann.
Yeah, seriously.
But the mask with the green stuff, and we know Bane is coming.
Yes.
You have to wonder if the Sootsayers, the
Work for
tech,
Bane?
or the tech that the Sootsayers are using, is the same tech that Bane uses. I don't know. Let's talk about Gordon and Barbara, which was another really good, grounded, regular scene of just the two of them with 5 years, really 5 years to us, 10, 20 years worth of drama.
Yeah.
All
I
brought
loved
into a broken city. Like, this was great.
I loved it. I love Jim and Barbara. I've been team Jim and Barbara since the beginning. Do they have a hashtag? What is their Jarbra? Jim, somebody in the chat will come up with something.
No, there hasn't been a ship name yet.
No, we need a ship name.
Well, because they were signed, sealed, deliver season 1, episode 1. So no one thought they needed to come up with a ship name.
Yeah, basically. There is a ship name for Gordon and Lee, though.
That's not going to happen. Stop. That is just not going to happen. Where is Lee?
I know. I was actually
Deadpool.
hoping that Lee was the witch.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said that in the comments, that they thought Lee was the witch.
I was hoping for Lee to. That would have made sense too.
If they bring her back this season, she needs some better hairstyles.
It would have made sense.
Gonna
for
say
her.
that. Costume.
It would have made sense actually for her to be the witch because she was a doctor, so she would have been able to be a doctor that would have helped her.
Fair, and I think I don't know. It would have still felt like a side quest if it was her, and it would have felt like an even bigger waste of her.
Yeah.
Because
Probably.
cool.
I
She's
I
here
hope she comes back. Honestly,
I don't.
I
I
want
do.
Lee to come back.
Really?
You do?
Ultimately, yeah. Well, I want
Yes.
everyone to come back. I want Butch to come
see
back.
I want
everybody.
Fish Mooney to come back.
I would
gosh.
love Fish Mooney to come back, but
I'm waiting for like that surprise scene where we just see her pop out and it's like, ooh, Jada signed a contract.
so I think we're there. Let's talk about some predictions.
Lots.
Okay.
All the predictions.
All the predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, we're talking about some returns.
Yes.
If Fish Mooney comes back, when and how? Let's do
Never. Never. But if she were to come back, I think it would be at a time when like Penguin was coming to power and she needed to come and check him.
Ooh. So, my prediction, it's not even a prediction. It's like a prediction.
Karla
on
would
a
think she's coming to officiate Jim and Lee's wedding.
It's a prediction
How'd you
on.
know?
It's a prediction on a hypothetical that if Fish Mooney existed in this universe and was watching Gotham right now, she'd want nothing to do with it.
Really?
Because it's not. She would.
Worth it?
It's not her time to come. She would want to come and take it, and it's in the kind of shambles that you can't.
Yeah.
She would want Penguin and Barbara to go at it in such a way that all the power is distributed between the two of them, and then she would want to come in and co-opt Barbara to take down Penguin.
Yeah.
So if Fish Mooney comes back, she'll join the Sirens. If that's the catchy headline
But we
y'all
don't want Fish Mooney to be part of the Sirens. We want Fish Mooney to be Fish
Well,
Mooney.
I actually wouldn't
she'd
hate
be
that.
aligned with the Sirens.
I actually wouldn't hate that,
Sirens.
yeah.
She would.
Really?
I can see that happening.
To try and take down Penguin, I also think that would be a nice touch. That it was ultimately, before it was about Penguin Riddler, before it was about Barbara Penguin, it was about Penguin Fish Mooney.
Yeah.
That said, J.D. Pinkett Smith is very
That
busy.
would have been like a very good, being that that's what we started with was the tension
Yes.
between Penguin
And
and
her.
Fish Mooney. That would have been a nice kind of full circle
And it took you 2
moment for
seasons
this
for him to
series.
step up over her, and then for her to come back in season 3. I think
And
it
be
would
like, checkmate,
and
homie.
if you
See-
could do it in a way where she's only there for like a week.
Yeah.
I think that if Fish Mooney were to come back, it would be the episode that Penguin would die. Because if anybody is worthy of killing Penguin, I think it's Fish Mooney.
I agree. I also think it would set the proper tone for Gotham the show as we understand it, which is there's Penguin, he's dead now.
Yeah.
There's
I feel like Penguin's died a couple times, though.
There's Jeremiah, who's also Jerome, who's gonna be the Riddler. He died twice. Like, he's gonna die, but
Yeah.
he has a twin, but he's gonna die, but he's crazy, he's gonna die, but there's a mantle. Like, it would feel best to me in the Gotham I know and love. Here's your mythos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it goes. Like, they dangle the mythos in front of us and then pull it away like we're a child with your keys. But in an entertaining way, because that's
Yeah,
entertaining
yeah,
to a
yeah.
child if you don't do it in enough where they cry. That's storytelling, y'all.
That sounds like you know
Okay, yes,
that's a
I'm
little
like,
too familiar.
I've never done that.
How many times have you made
Don't
children
really.
cry, Steve?
None, because I'm a good storyteller. Moving on.
There you
Do we think Barbara lives?
I hope so. I mean, based off of the what do you use? Forward? It's
beginning.
not a flashback. It's not a prequel, but the forward.
The flash forward, if you
Flash forward. Okay, based off of the flash forward that we saw, like Barbara wasn't a part of any of that. So part of me feels like she might, like the fact that she wouldn't be part of such big action makes me feel like she might not survive, but I really want her to survive. I think her and Jim are going to have a moment, like a serious moment. I don't think Lee's going to come back. I hope she doesn't come back, but I think Barbara is reaching an ultimate demise, and it's going to be through her vengeance of Penguin.
I think Barbara is going to be done, actually, after she has her moment with Gordon. I think that's going to be her kind of
She's
like
going to
goodbye.
already have a baby.
No, I think it's just because, if anything, I don't think that she has the power or the will that she wants to, like, move forward.
Yeah.
Unless if some of her powers that were given to her by Ra's al Ghul maybe come back, then that's kind of how she would stay. But I feel like right now she doesn't really have it in her, like, of her, like, she's like, oh, I just want to kill Penguin. And that's really just her only, like, purpose for right now. It's not really, like...
Which I think is what's going to be her demise. Like, she
Yeah.
has no other purpose other than to just destroy Penguin.
Exactly.
And she'll
Avenge
destroy,
Tabitha.
and she'll just destroy herself in that process. But at this point, I don't think she cares about that. I think she's seen red and she has tunnel vision and she's going straight for Penguin.
Claire in the chat says Barbara dies, and that's how Gordon's baby is named Barbara Gordon.
Aww. Does
Interesting.
he really have a baby named Barbara Gordon?
What's
In different comics.
in different timelines, Barbara Gordon, who is
Why? I don't understand how in this world that would make sense that he would name his baby after his demented ex-girlfriend.
she'll redeem herself, I'm sure, if that's how if we're following this prediction through. So Selina Kyle, she's just Catwoman now, right?
I mean, yeah,
She will
her
be.
eyes look like cats. But I feel like we've had a few of these moments. Like, remember the moment where she found she was surrounded by cats? Like, we've had a few of
Yeah,
these
we've
different
definitely had-
cat moments.
But
But now she's, like, full-on Catwoman.
she's
We see her.
pretty much she's as close to Catwoman the villainess we're ever going to see in Gotham. Do you think they show us more Enigma next week, or are we done? Are we
Yes.
done until we see a lot?
I think they're gonna show us.
I think
more
they're going to show
episodes.
us more of Nygma. I think that's going to be a recurring.
I think because they showed us no
Storyline.
Penguin this week, we might see Penguin's side of it, and just now Penguin has to run down a bunch of gangs he didn't necessarily want to run down, because they're going to come at him because they thought he came at them because Riddler's just a mastermind. Two last questions. Joker, where's he at?
He's hiding. He's waiting
He's
to make his
overseeing
move.
everything.
He's overseeing.
Okay.
He's watching everything, and he's waiting to make his grand move
Yeah.
Do we think Bane comes from the Sootsayers or somewhere else?
somewhere
So-
else.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's coming from the Sootsayers.
I think he's coming from the Sootsayers tech. Like, he's obviously not one of those kids, and then he's going to grow up to be Shane West. Like, I think it's just, I think whatever.
like Bane's already there.
I don't know. I think the gas the Sootsayers are using is the same gas that Bane uses, but they might go semi-traditional and Ivy's involved. If they're already having Ivy back, that
would make
Ivy's
sense why
plant
they would
stuff
bring her
turns
back.
Shane West into a Bane. The internet had a field day in October when they saw pictures of this Shane West Bane.
I was so excited.
I'm ready. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
they had a field day saying it was lame. I don't think it was quite as lame as the internet says.
I think I'm excited to see what Shane West does to become Bane, because all of these characters have kind of become their own in a very unique way. Kind of like Jerome and Jeremiah, the Catwoman, like everybody just kind of has become their own character. So I'm excited to see just kind of how Shane West takes this about being Bane.
I'm hearing a couple things. Bane is an old army friend of Gordon's. Doctor Strange will have something to do with Bane. These are all great things.
Yeah, I
because
think
they
Bane's
built
going to
some-
come out of nowhere. I think Bane's going to be a wild card.
They built a very rich history of characters. I don't know why we needed a neon gang today. So
I completely agree.
let's get some predictions at large before we head on out of here.
I think Jim and Barbara again are gonna have like some type of climax this season that's really gonna put their story to rest. I think Selina she's gonna be too wild for Bruce to handle. She's gonna become like a dark villain, and Bruce is gonna have a really hard time struggling with that because he seems to have had a couple of those moments, and this might actually be that one kind of last personal moment that like really makes him a man. They finally dropped, and then. I think there's going to be a big blow up between Penguin and Barbara, and I actually think Penguin's going to win.
Okay.
I would hope not, but I think Penguin might win in this case.
I actually kind of disagree with you about Selina and Bruce. I think that this side of Selina that we're going to see is totally going to help Bruce kind of grow up and be like, okay, like, I have to become the Dark Knight now. I think this is going to help him become
tame his
that.
woman?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep her in
check. And what else? For Barbara, I think we'll see a little bit of Barbara a little bit more, and I hope to keep her, but she'll be gone before we even get there.
I hope we give her some better hair.
I think the pain of losing Selina is part of what makes Bruce Batman.
That's true.
Batman is about pain.
Yeah.
Batman is about pain and angst.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I mean. She's going to become evil and dark, and him losing her is what's ultimately going to
help him. Yeah. What was
Barbara? You're talking about Barbara.
I was talking about Barbara.
And what you see for Barbara.
Oh, I was going to talk about Jeremiah. I actually really want to see Jeremiah and Bane soon. I don't want these... Like, I don't want their storylines to be too short to, like, where they cut it for, like, 2-3 episodes. Like, I want it to I want a good story to, like, not really drag out, but I want it to be here, and I want them all to be together. I just want to see all the villains, which is really not a prediction. It's more of, like, what I'm wishing
And
for.
I think that's one of the reasons I had a hard time with these past 2 episodes is we know Bane is coming. We know Jeremiah is going to resurface. We know Nygma is going to figure out what's going on with him and the Joker. So, like, we know all of this is supposed to happen, so why are you wasting my time with neon gangs? Like, what? Get it together,
Once again,
Gotham.
I don't want to hate on the Neon Gang as a potential thing. I'm sure if done correctly, we would have enjoyed the Neon Gang.
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw them twice.
But the haunted house ghost lady and her orphan son.
Mother and Orphan, I'm sure would be, I don't know.
Would have been good had we not known all of this other stuff was going to happen and know like this, there's going to be a big
They were step 4
conclusion.
of a very winding road.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this has been a very winding road here.
Yeah.
Talking about Gotham with you guys.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has.
If people want to tell you how much fun they're having, where can they find you on Twitter, starting Zach?
I'm Zack Peter. You guys can follow me at Just Plain Zack all over the internet.
And hey guys, I'm your host, Karla Beltran. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran, or you can tweet at me at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
And I'm Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. I run a lot of YouTube pages for a lot of your favorite wrestling personalities. If I tweeted the link, I'm probably involved. For Zack Peter, Karla Beltran, I'm Steve Kaufmann, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.